Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. I know that we've got 4 candidates in the race. Governor Dewhurst, all of them are nice guys. They really are. I think Dewhurst's approach is see how we can spend money. My approach is how can we cut and bring efficiencies. And I don't just say that idly. I mean, every budget that's passed the Senate has always been the highest budget out there. And so I think that's the philosophy. It's well established, and I think we've got to go a different direction today.
What's our budget for the?
$190-something billion on a biennial basis.
That's for the next 2.
Yes, sir. For the upcoming biennium.
So what about the other 2 candidates?
You
do you
know,
feel like you fit up against them?
I think everyone has a record, and we've all fought for conservative causes. I think Dan voted to spend $6 billion out of the rainy day fund this last session. He did vote to do that.
What was that for?
For several different purposes: water, transportation, I think education.
Okay.
I think that's a mistake to dip into our savings to pay for ongoing functions of budget of government. So I mean, that's a real difference in philosophy that I have. He's carried bills to give legislators gun owner rights that other Texans would not have. I think we need to expand those rights to all Texans and all CHLs holders. I think that's a very big deal and a very tangible one there. Jerry has said that he wants to retire and draw his state retirement while he's serving as lieutenant governor. I'm not running to retire. I want y'all to know that here tonight. I just don't think that needs to be the approach that we go this. And I've been ranked among the top conservatives in both chambers, and trying to find ways to make government efficient. And that has been what I've done. And if we can get rid of it, let's get rid of it. If we can downsize it, let's downsize it. And we've eliminated some things we've done to the Department of Agriculture. And I think we need a lieutenant governor. I'm going to be calling in the appointed agency heads along with the volunteers that run those agencies. And we're going to be having some accountability and stopping doing things. And you'll have a lieutenant governor that'll be leading and doing that.
So do you want to be a John Cornyn conservative or a Ted Cruz conservative?
I want to be a Todd Staples conservative.
And where does that fall in that spectrum?
That is someone that fights for a conservative state government and fights for low taxes and fights for fair regulations, but that also recognizes you have a responsibility to deliver at the state government level. And the reason I say that is that John and Ted are both in Washington, and Washington has a different role than state government does.
So you're going to be crazier than Ted, you're saying?
And I've done that. I mean, when...
In a good way.
In a good way. In a good way. And I certainly appreciate the job that he's doing and calling attention to some huge areas.
Sure.
I mean, absolutely. Well, Texans sent the right person to Washington 2 years ago. There's no doubt about it.
He was birthed right here in Montgomery.
He was. It was a great thing. Our border in Texas was closed to live cattle trade because of the BSE scare. We got our World Animal Health status where there was no problems. They should have reopened to us. They didn't because of political reasons, and they didn't to Canada. They reopened to Canada where Canada could send live cattle, but not the United States. Jeez. Canadian brokers called my staff wanting to reserve space in our pens. I closed down the border, would not let them use ours. I got partners in New Mexico and Arizona and California to join with us. And we reopened live cattle trade in 4 weeks, what had been closed for 4 years, because I took a strong stand. When it came to carrying congressional redistricting as a member of the state Senate, I took a strong stand, chased Democrats to New Mexico, and fought for a map that reflects Texas and not a liberally designed Democratic map.
Right.
I have fought when it comes to education issues to stand up for a fair system. And so when it's time to fight, you'll find no more fierce a fighter than me. I also know that I can build coalitions because we need to do that to get things done, and you can do that without compromising who you are.
Well, what would you do to help American law for American courts? Apparently there's a bunch of legislators who think we don't need it. But there are courts in the state of Texas that are using Sharia law. So apparently we do need it.
we need to have judges who are lawyers, obviously disbarred when they use anything but the United States Constitution and the state constitution. And that needs to be a very clear process to keep United Nations agenda, Sharia law, any other type of legal system has no place to usurp what our citizens have fought for and died for, and is written very clearly what we should be following.
So you are familiar with Agenda 21?
Yes, yes. And it stems on property rights,
Yeah.
you know,
Right.
replacing our system with theirs. And
That's right.
I have been a fierce defender of the rights of private property owners. I've championed eminent domain reform. I've brought land steward organizations together to change our state constitution that said, you know, what happened in the city of New London, Connecticut should never happen in the Lone Star State,
Yeah.
where you cannot use eminent domain for anything but a true public purpose.
You know, part two.
Thank you, y'all giving stuff to me.
I hope not.
I came with it. I came with it. Would you have another bottle of water?
One of
Yes,
the,
sir.
well, here's one right here, you may want to get one of this cooler.
Oh, it hadn't been opened?
Wow,
Okay, yeah.
she touched it, you touched it.
It's yours?
No, I mean,
Go
You
ahead.
know, we teach English as a second language in schools.
Mhm.
And there are
Yeah,
schools
you-
where they have a half a
fresh
dozen
one.
different languages that the teachers don't teach, and there's students in there. We've gotta stop teaching, you know, teaching English. Teach them
Immersion.
English and stop teaching them.
Well, any person that came in that's gone through the citizenship process, immersion is the way they've done that, and they're successful business people today. We just had one that was appointed, I'm not certain about her pathway to America, but Governor Perry just appointed her to be Secretary of State. And I was just reading a clip on the way over here about I came in with like $200 in my pocket, and I immersed myself in this system and became an American. There's a gentleman in Tyler that was from South Africa and came in, and he's got a very successful business today. He learned English, and he worked this system the right way, and he worked.
Yep.
And he worked.
So
That's the key.
And we're spending a lot of
That's right.
taxpayer money catering to their foreign languages.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you this. My dad was a factory worker for 36 years in the hot end, not the cold end. When I got out of school, we had two choices. One, we could stay inside and study, and the other is we could go to the farm and work. Education took a whole lot bigger priority in my life than those two choices, because I mean, we had to work.
Yeah.
And that's the expectation, that the American dream is no place more alive than right here in the Lone Star State. If you want to work for it, go after it. And we'll have a electorate that stands with you, because that's what Republicans, that's what conservatives stand for. Yeah, you leave my card. Thank you.